Welcome back. In this session, I want to talk about the DNA of successful group leaders. Now, we could talk about a lot of things here, but I've just found that these 10 things have the greatest ROI when it comes to leading your group to find freedom and take next steps. So first, pray for your group daily by name. It'll drastically change the dynamic of your group. Here's a way you can do that practically. I have a pastor friend who leads the groups network at another church, and he uses this phrase, 5 minutes a day and pray on the way. I think it's brilliant. He teaches his leaders to take 5 minutes on their way to or from work to just pray by name for someone in their group, and then at some point throughout the day to just shoot them a quick text or to make a quick phone call to say, hey man, just wanted you to know I was thinking about you today, thankful for you, I took some time to pray for you this morning. It'll make a drastic difference in your group. Number 2, prioritize casual fellowship. Now, it's important to take the time for strong relationships to build. And as a leader, you need to be sure you're working the room, you're kind of getting around to each person to help them feel welcome and to be a part of the group. Never underestimate the impact of just casual conversation that happens at the beginning and end of your group. I have a good friend, Eddie, who led a group a few years ago, and there was a gentleman in his group named Steve. And Steve was a self-described skeptic. He wasn't sure about, in his words, all of these church people. But he came to a group with his wife and he really never said anything. But Eddie was super intentional to make the most of the casual fellowship time in his group. And that's where Steve would really actually kind of open up and talk. And so Eddie, just over time, began to see Steve's heart soften a little more and a little more. And he began to participate even in the group discussion. And eventually, Steve committed his life to Christ, and Eddie, his group leader, baptized him. And his life is transformed because the group leader was intentional about the casual conversation. So don't forget the casual conversation. Number 3, connect with the members of your group between the meetings. The groups that take the most ground and make the biggest impact are those with leaders who have what I call the meeting after the meeting. Now, you can do that through a phone call, through an email, through a text, or through maybe, hopefully often meeting for coffee. The best ministry often happens between the meetings, so don't forget to have the meeting after the meeting. The 4th thing is, go first. Now, here's what I mean by that. In session 1, we talked about that our primary environment for practicing our value of courageous vulnerability is in our groups. And that's not easy to do, but what we found is that there's one factor that creates a courageously vulnerable culture in your group faster than anything else, and that's by you going first. You be the first to take off the mask and to get honest about your journey and honest about your struggles. You'll set the culture for your group. Be willing to give your group the gift of being able to go second when it comes to being courageously vulnerable. All right, number 5, share the load. In Ephesians chapter 4, Paul says that God has called some to be teachers and some to be shepherds to equip the saints for the work of ministry. Now, as pastors, our role is to equip you to do ministry well. And as sort of pastor and shepherd of your group, God's called you to do the same thing. A mentor friend of mine used to say this. He'd say, only do what only you can do and give the rest of it away. So that's what share the load is. It's enlisting someone to make the dessert or to plan the party for the group or to keep a record of the prayer requests and then send them out to make sure that all of our group are praying for each other. You get the idea. Share the load. Now, here's one way you can do that, and it's number 6. It's raise up an apprentice leader. I'd ask you to identify somebody in your group who have gifts that you think could be used in leadership of a group at some point. And then throughout the season, give them a little more responsibility each week. You start by maybe having them lead the icebreaker or share, part of the leadership of a question that you're gonna ask the group and have them discuss. Or you maybe have them lead through the group prayer time. You just progressively give them more and more opportunities to step into leadership as the season goes on. So have an apprentice leader. Number 7, laugh loud, hard, and often. Now, this is one of our leadership behaviors here at The Bridge. Proverbs 17:22 says, laughter is a good medicine. We know that that's true. Can I just tell you that people can't get enough of a group that embodies this value? And as followers of Jesus, we should be as joy-filled as the tomb is empty. As Pastor Josh says sometimes, in your group, eat, drink, and be merry, for yesterday you were dead. Laugh loud, hard, and often. Number 8, have a plan. Now, that's gonna look different based on the type of group that you have. The point is, make sure you have a plan for whatever it is that your group's gonna do. If you're an outreach group, make sure you've thought through the details. If you're a prayer group, what's your plan? If you're doing a video Bible study, make sure you've queued and tested the video. Have a plan. Respect people's time by beginning and ending on time. And we just found that the groups that last over the long haul are groups that have a plan. So have a plan. Number 9, invite your group to worship gatherings and events with you. So whether it's food trucks and fireworks or night of worship or Love My City Saturday, do it together as a group. Remember, you're a connector. That's part of your responsibility as a group leader. You're a connector. And so if you're helping them take next steps, one of the greatest things you can do is to get them connected to the church body here at the Bridge. So number 10, rally the group around a group member in crisis. You certainly want to be wise about how you step into those situations, but don't run away from them. Consider it an honor and an opportunity to join God in the work He's doing in somebody's life. Remember, God's chosen who's going to be in your group, and He's chosen you and the group you lead to be His instrument to walk with someone through a crisis. And several years ago, my wife and I went through literally the most difficult season of our entire lives. And our group rallied around us in an incredible way. And it was a simple way, simply by bringing us dinners for literally an entire month. Here's what they didn't do. They didn't try to fix the problem. They didn't try to speak necessarily profound words over us, though some of them did just naturally. You know what they did? They simply provided us meals that we needed anyway, and they just loved us and walked with us. So walk with group members in crisis.